Did it again. Happy 2018, everyone, and welcome to the Open Forum Podcast, episode 003. Corporate worker bees by day, busy dads and gamers by night, bringing you our version of a passionate bare-bones podcast where we talk everything TV, movies, games, music, and pop culture in an open forum format. Yes, we are the Late Night Open Forum crew with your co-hosts. I'm Major Pancakes, everyone's favorite tweet hero Dre, and EddieMacHimself. We live vodcast the latest episode every week on Twitch under Late Night Open Forum. Tune in there, follow us, drop by chat, say hello, ask a question, or share your thoughts live as we premiere the latest podcast episode with you, live through the power of the internets and Twitch. Or, as always, you can check out this podcast when you're listening Appetite Demands by checking out our YouTube channel. You can find all the words, deets, and links in the description. So it's 2018, a new year, a new me? Not really. I've decided not to work on any of my addiction issues, so in 2018, I will continue to play, for our viewers today, Destiny 2. Yes, today's gameplay footage is still brought to you unofficially by Destiny 2 Expansion 1 Curse of Osiris. So on today's show, we wrap up our Last Jedi review and discussion by finally getting EddieMacHimself's feedback. Then later on in the show, we ring in the new year with our 2018 top 3 lists. Find out what we each look forward to the most in 2018. So, even though it's been 3 weeks since its premiere, just about 3 weeks since its premiere, just for good measure, we'll be giving the audience your one and only spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So, with that, let's get right into it. You heard my thoughts as well as Dre's in our last episode regarding Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, Ed, let's finally have it. First, 2 thumbs up or 2 thumbs down?
You know, this is, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up. And that is, that's huge coming out of the last movie. And what was the first one? Remind me. You guys are a little bit more hip to this.
That would be The Force Awakens, sir.
Yes, not Rogue One, but The Force Awakens. I walked out of that movie just feeling a little gypped, just feeling a little insulted by the plain and vanilla plot line. So I walked out of this one feeling awesome and pumped, and I've only watched it once, believe it or not. I want to go back and watch it at least 2 more times before it is available on streaming or DVD. So that should tell you exactly how much I like this movie. 2 thumbs up.
Awesome. I'm actually quite surprised. You commonly being the contrarian of the 3 of us, I was actually expecting you not to like this one. But I'm glad all 3 of us, sounds like it's a consensus. All 3 of us, 6 thumbs up. That's good for Star Wars The Last Jedi as well as Rian Johnson's effort in the latest trilogy. So something we answered last week, a scene that sticks out the most, was it good or bad, and why do you think that scene stuck out the most?
I mean, I really think it's the battle scene and the lead up to the battle scene on the planet. I believe it's called Crate, kind of like the Greek island Crate, just a different spelling. I mean, that really, it stands out to me, and it's not necessarily for the actual battle scene. There's some holes within that whole lead up to the battle scene, the fighting scene with Finn and his lady friend and her coming in and knocking him off and protecting him from actually killing himself. There's some things I don't like, but just from how it was filmed and how just how the planet looked with the soil being red, but it's being covered in salt. I mean, it was so beautiful. And normally I'm not like a snob, a videographer video cinematography snob on how things look, but I mean, I just think it really looked great, and it just brought back memories of Empire Strikes Back, which I think for most people that it's ranked the number one movie. So, and it's pretty high for me, but not number one. But still, it just brought back a lot of those memories back to watching that movie for the first time. So that's for sure my favorite scene.
Is there anything that was your least liked scene or scenes?
I mean, I would say scenes, and this is going to the casino planet, the Casino Royale, except there's no James Bond involved. I think that planet was Canto Bite. Is that once again, I go to my source, 2 for 2. Canto Bite. And it's, I mean, it was cool to see another planet, and I know within the whole storyline and narrative, this was meant to just showcase there's other people involved other than the bad guys, the good guys. There's the arms dealers. There's the people who say that their hands are clean, but they're really not. They're fueling the whole fight, and they're giving everyone arms. So I get what it's for, and then at the end making a connection with how the kids who are slaves are having to do a lot of work. Like, they're the ones that are really going to live on with that notion of Luke Skywalker was like this hero, and it's going to drive the rebellion. So I get it. I know why it's there, but it just bugged me because it just seemed so comical. It just seemed like it was the Three Stooges running around and chips are flying everywhere. And then on top of it, they went to the planet to find a guy with a red flower pen. We saw that guy. That's not the guy that they left the planet with. So in my mind, it was a mission failure before they even got screwed over by the guy that they did take, Mr. Del Toro. So that's probably the scene that just bugs me, because I think if you take that out, they could have found another way to make that connection with the whole story of the Jedi living on and talking about the people who actually fuel the war. So for sure, like, that's the one that bothers me. But beyond that, I really didn't have a lot of other scenes that I were upset with. But overall, I love the movie.
I'd agree with you. I think the consensus is that Canto Bite is indeed probably the weakest part of the film. I likened it to the hauling Rathtars smuggling scene when you're first introduced to Han Solo in The Force Awakens. It's just the slowest part of the movie. Part of the genius, though, of The Last Jedi, and which I think was intentional, was the reason why I think a lot of people don't like it and it seems the slowest is because nothing went according to plan at Canto Bite. They went there looking for it was a cameo by Justin Theroux, and he was supposed to be the hacker that Maz Kanata referred them to. I was almost waiting for a twist that Benicio del Toro, or his character's, it's never said on screen, but his character's name is DJ. I was waiting for the twist of him saying, I lost my red bloom lapel pin in a card match, and that's how Justin Theroux's character and DJ was supposed to be the one they were looking for, and they just didn't know it. So I'm curious if there was actually a hidden or a deleted scene where that was the case and that was taken out, and now we get pacing issues because of it. I mean, movies fall victim to scenes being left on the cutting room floor, and then it turns out being some kind of pacing issue. I mean, all of our favorites, Batman vs. Superman, the biggest criticism was that it just felt weird, and pacing-wise it was off, and I felt like a lot of those scenes were made up in what was shown in the deleted or the extended cut of the movie. So same thing here for Last Jedi. But I think Rian Johnson was deliberate in Canto Bite feeling slow. It's that they went there, they were not supposed to have anything. They went there with a plan, and nothing went according to plan, and that just shows that these rebels kind of stink at their job. They're really grasping at straws. But I agree. The feeling that the entire audience is left was that Canto Bite scene was kind of pointless. They got nothing out of it, and if anything, it just hurt them all in the end because DJ ended up turning on them.
You know what I'm thinking about that scene is that, sorry to cut you off, Ed, is that I think the reason why they kind of went with that whole angle is because if you had that mission just come off as a complete 100% success with like no kind of major danger, no kind of major repercussions if they fail, it would come off too much like the scene in Episode 1 when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are trying to save Anakin from Watto?
Yes,
That's his name? Watto?
You mean
From Watto, when he's a slave.
That rigged dice game that they did?
Rigged.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everything in that whole thing just went way too smoothly. I mean,
Jedis do cheat.
there's no challenge at all. I mean, with the exception of the pod racing, which could have gone either way. But the rigged dice and everything just went too perfectly. So I kind of feel like if this would have gone the same way in the scene, everyone would have said, "Oh, well, all you guys did was just redo that scene from episode 1 again." And so I kind of feel like they had to go a different route just to make sure they give people something different, so we can't just compare it to every other Star Wars movie that's out there.
All right, I got a question for you guys.
All right.
How do you guys feel about Finn?
I actually like his journey so far. I don't know where it's going to finish up, but I like his slow progression. He hasn't become officially a trope character, right? He's not exactly following Luke's footsteps. His flaw was he's a runner. He just wants to get away. He's kind of selfish. Even in The Last Jedi, he was trying to get away just so he can get to Rey, and then the two of them can do what they're supposed to do on their own, away from the First Order and even the Resistance. But his character keeps getting pulled back into it, whether he likes it or not. But then we kind of see his arc, right? At the end, in Crate, that scene, he's willing to give it all up and go Independence Day in that Death Star battering ram or laser ram, whatever you want to call it. And that's kind of a 180 for him, right? From someone who was always ready to run away, why is he willing all of a sudden to go kamikaze and give it all up? That's growth in the character. That's a story arc officially. Poe had something similar. So
I agree.
I like where Finn's going. I don't know if I will like his entire story by the end. I don't know where it's going to end up, but so far I think I'm liking it because it's a little different and it's not too different at the same time.
I'm fine. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm in total agreement with you, Christian. I think the one thing that kind of disappointed me, though, is I would have liked to have seen a little more for him to do in The Last Jedi. I mean, he was such an integral part of the story in Force Awakens, and I was kind of thinking that he'd be just as big a factor in the story going forward. But he actually ended up having a really small, well, I mean, I don't want to say small, but he had definitely a more scaled back role. Wasn't that involved in too much action and the whole fight against, the First Order. I would have liked to have seen him just have a little more than just, the 1 5-minute battle with Captain Phasma towards the end and a little more than just a casino scene. But other than that, in terms of, character arcs, totally agree. I mean, I love seeing, 'cause I just rewatched, Force Awakens the other day, and seeing how much of a coward he was in the first movie, always trying to run, to that final scene on Crate, where he's just, going straight for that Death Star battering ram. I mean, he came full circle. He went from total runner to accepting his role as a hero and a resistance fighter, which I thought was great. But so hopefully in episode 9, he'll just get more to do. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think towards the end of the movie, it's where you change things, but probably leading up to the scene on Crate, I started to actually dislike his character because he just came across as like the whiny like person. And so, which I think is unique how it's written, is because he is the whiny person, the coward, the person that's running, but he's also the person that's there for comic relief. Clearly, like, he's the one that they want the audience to laugh at his comments, just his quirkiness, his messing up and falling and having like liquid splurt all out of him, like, which was supposed to like heal him. So I guess this probably is unique that they've written his character this way, because usually the person who's clearly the comic relief, that's all they do. They don't really have any other story arc. So he went from being the runner, and then, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, like in the next movie, but we have a love story that's there. I think we're going to have double love stories, since you're going to have still the Rey and the Kylo Ren.
Oh, that boy's thirsty. He's got the thirst big time. The first thing he did when he woke up out of his little hyperbaric sleep thing, where's Rey? I mean, he is super thirsty.
That's his mobile Bacta tank, or his Bacta suit. Remember Luke in Empires in his Bacta suit? So that's almost a callback to Empires if you think about it. They've got Bacta tanks in the latest version of a Bacta tank, and it's a mobile suit. So we're kind of creeping into it, Ed. So episode 9. So where are we going from here? after we've seen everything in The Last Jedi, we've kind of talked about what we'd like to see, but what do you think is actually going to happen when J.J. Abrams takes over for Episode 9?
Well, I listened to the last podcast and it was good, by the way. So kudos to you guys. So I know the spoiler alerts that are out there, and I definitely believe with the red room scene, is that what we're calling it? It can't be the
throne
wedding.
room?
Yeah. I mean, clearly, I think it was predictable that Kylo Ren was going to turn on the big bad. What's his name?
Snoke.
Clearly, I kind of did my homework on some things, but I did on other names. Snoke. So, I mean, if he's all-knowing and he can see everything, I think Kylo Ren was definitely set up. And I think it was fuel to get him to that point where he is going to be even more powerful than Darth Vader based off the anger using dark side of the Force.
Right. That's what Palpatine said, right? That's what Palpatine told Luke. He said,
yes.
Use your anger, strike me down.
Yes. So, like, I think he's there. I think he's going to still move forward as a villain, like, with even more, like, hatred. I mean, he's never going to be able to redeem himself, I think, with all the people that he's killed to this point. But I think at the end, it's probably going to have that Darth Vader ending where, he's going to be forgiven. I feel like Rey, there's that love story with Rey is going to keep going. She feels like she can turn him, bring him back. He's not going to come back, and he's not going to fight for, like, the Jedi. He's not going to be a good guy, but I think he'll have an honorable death. So, I definitely see that happening. I mean, I hope the Jedi gets their stuff together because they were literally picked apart. There were like 30-some ships that were going towards the planet. You had maybe 5 or 6. Yes, the Resistance, sorry. You had like 5 or 6 ships going to the planet, or 30 going to the planet, 5 or 6 making it, and then you had one ship leaving.
Right. Everybody fits in the Corellian freighter, the Millennium Falcon, right?
Yeah, so I mean, how I'm envisioning it, I mean, it can't pick up where it just left off. This has to be 5 years, at least like 5 years in the future, where the Resistance are able to identify a new Jedi, like bring that Jedi Order back. The kid who had the broom mopping up the stables, like, right, hands free. I mean, maybe that person comes back, but I think this is the last movie of the trilogy. I really feel like the Resistance is going to come out on top. You're going to have that Death Star scene, like, blowing up, but in a different way. And that's really how I see it going. I mean, Rey is just going to keep being the light that keeps carrying everyone. Like, ultimately, that Jedi, that Luke Skywalker, but in female form. So, I mean, that's how I envision it. I can't really go in to any other predictions. It's going to be as high level as that. Well, Resistance are going to prevail.
I think, so let's paint the picture. So let's go with that kind of prediction and foreshadowing. So if there is indeed a time jump, let's say they're going to have to handle the Carrie Fisher death in some sort of classy and not too controversial way. So if it's a time jump, they'll probably can open up the first scene at like a 5-year memorial of her death or something like that. We'll catch up to maybe Rey starting a new Jedi Order. She did take those Jedi texts from Octu, so maybe she uses that and writes her own version of the books. And maybe there's even some hints that she connected with Leia, and Leia did teach her some things about the Force, or what little Leia knew, because she demonstrated with her Mary Poppins ability in space in The Last Jedi. So I don't think that's too far-fetched of what's going to happen. It's just there has to. My first thought is what's the Death Star going to be, right? So we've had Starkiller Base that has been destroyed. Are they going to do a Return of the Jedi and bring it back, just like they had the Death Star 2? I don't know. What's.
Do we need another one though? I mean, do we need to have another big bad ship? I mean, can't we just maybe just have just a battle between just good and evil, two sides just fighting together on a planet somewhere without the big Death Star ship? I mean, I think it's been done to death now at this point. I think we should just eliminate these big huge ships and just have it be just like a whole fleet of just regular Star Destroyers and TIE fighters and whatnot, and X-wings, and just all those aircraft fighting against each other, people on the ground with guns and explosions, whatever going on, and lightsabers, but no more Death Stars. I think that just
bring back Jar Jar Binks too, right?
Oh, please, yes, we need more of that for sure.
Wait, Jar Jar Binks the politician or Jar Jar Binks the field soldier?
No, X-wing.
Bombad General Jar Jar. Yes.
Misa, stay on target. Misa, stay on target. I can see it right now. Like, you would love Jar Jar Binks if that's what happened.
I wouldn't watch the movie if Jar Jar was in it again.
I think was it the Clone Wars have made me like him. So.
Wow.
I like Jar Jar.
And Ed's officially lost his mind.
Awesome. So Ed, those were the 3 bullets that we hit on last week. You got any last things to add on your thoughts of The Last Jedi or Star Wars in general?
Again, really good movie. I think the reason why I like it so much is it wasn't predictable. There was points where I thought it was predictable. I knew where it was going, and great writing caught me and made me think, or made me realize I was wrong. So I think that's where I walked out of the movie having more respect than the first movie within this trilogy. Is I just walked away just thinking it was good writing. They weren't trying to bring in the average person who hasn't necessarily watched Star Wars, is not a Star Wars fan. I really think it was good writing for us people who are huge Star Wars fans. So 2 thumbs up, and I cannot wait to watch it a couple times. I cannot wait until it comes out on Amazon Prime to buy it. If it comes out on Netflix and it's free, even better. So I'm pumped.
Awesome.
Well, don't get don't get your hopes all up for the Netflix release, just because don't forget Disney is starting their own new streaming service, and they will be pulling all of their content off of Netflix, I believe, at the end of this year.
I thought it was
starting up their own.
Yeah,
I think at the end of this year they're pulling everything, and by next year they're going to start their own new streaming service. So,
jerks.
Disney owns everything, and they're going to have to own every digital movie streaming service soon once they pull everything.
Disney is the first order.
The House of Mouse is the first order. Can you imagine Mickey Mouse in a Kylo Ren costume? That would be awesome. So, all right, so that looks like it's going to wrap up our thoughts on the last major event for us in 2017, which was Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Dre, last week I did bring up the thought of a trivia question. It was we were discussing, and I brought up the thought that I wonder what the most recognizable character is, or celebrity figure, and we brought up Michael Jordan and we brought up Darth Vader. So I did do some research and some homework. So according to the website thetop10s.com, the top 10 most recognizable fictional characters of all time, do you know where Darth Vader comes in at?
I would say he's got to be probably number I'm going to say 3.
Close, but not really. Ed, any guess?
I'm going to say, are we playing Price is Right rules?
No, you can just make a guess.
All right, I'm going to say 2, but I hope Jar Jar Binks also made this list.
I would have to say you're both wrong. I don't agree with this list. I probably should have checked some other sources.
Uh-oh.
But according to the top10s.com, Darth Vader does come in at number 9, edging out Superman for the 10th spot.
Superman is 10?
Yes. At the number 2 spot is Mickey Mouse. And at the number 1 spot is Super Mario. So I did do a little bit of other research. And again, this category is most recognizable fictional characters of all time. I did look at other lists. IGN did the top 100 villains, and Darth Vader did come in at number 1 as villain. Empire Online, I think, also had their 100 greatest movie characters of all time. Darth Vader did come in at 9. Interesting tidbit, Empire Online had Indiana Jones as number 1 and Han Solo as number 3. So Harrison Ford came in at number 1 and number 3, and then Darth Vader at number 9. So Darth Vader is indeed a recognizable, probably the most recognizable Star Wars character of all time. So just a fun trivia tip for this week. So All right, I think that's wrapping up Star Wars for us. Let's get into officially ringing in 2018 with our top 3 lists. Dre, let's start with you. So again, we're going to work from number 3 being your third most looked forward to event or release in 2018, moving down to the number 1 most looked forward to for you. So go ahead, Dre.
All right, so number 3 for me, probably not the most popular option on the list here, but it's going to be my boy Tiger Woodjaw. Tiger Woods came back last month, had a great round at the Hero Challenge last month, and got everyone very excited about golf again. I love watching golf. I love playing golf, and so Tiger Woods is like the whole reason I even got into golf in the first place. So seeing him come back, I'm very excited about it. I saw a video today about his new swing he's got. They say he may play a full schedule this year for the first time in a long time. So I think this might finally be the time when Tiger Woods is back. I want to see him get a few more tournament wins this year, maybe get 1 or 2 more majors, so he can finally tie Jack Nicklaus and just truly cement himself as being the GOAT. Super excited.
That's interesting. I knew he was out, and I knew he wasn't to his old winning ways. How long has he been out? Was it from an injury, or he was just laying low?
So he's had multiple back surgeries over the last year and a half. I think his last surgery, I want to say, was in like March or April last year. And he just came back in December. So I mean, it took him a long time to come back. And we all know he's never really been the same since his scandal broke out a few years back.
Which scandal, though, right?
Yeah. But
his girls or his drug scandal. He's had quite a few. So I don't know which one's the most.
Mostly the girl scandal. The drugs was a little side off, but the girl scandals have really knocked his game off. But no, he looked really good in the tournament he played at the Hero Challenge, and I'm just looking forward to seeing this guy just come back and just show the world that he still got it.
He's kind of like a rapper. I mean, everyone calls him Tiger, but do you really know his first name?
Eldridge.
All right, you've been doing your homework. I mean, what's sad is though, this guy was at the top of his game. I mean, everyone knew who he was before all these scandals dropped. If you search his name on a search engine that I will not name right now, it will come up with his bio, and it'll have his pictures. And a couple pictures are of him holding a trophy and smiling and winning. But the main picture that comes up is his mugshot.
Of course.
Just think about that. This is a guy that's considered one of the greatest athletes of all time. And you search him and a mugshot comes up. That's crazy.
That is.
Well, and that's why all it's gonna take is just a few more wins. He gets a couple more wins, and we all know we're a society that forgets quick. You could do the most dastardly thing today, and 2 months from now, 3 months from now, people will completely forget, and you're on the road to recovery again. So if he gets a couple of wins this year, I guarantee you those mugshots are going to be forgotten about, and it's just going to be all pictures of him and trophies again.
Ray Lewis and Michael Vick.
Exactly.
These are both football examples. Kobe. I mean, come on, Kobe.
Kobe's a good one. Winning changes everything in sports, no matter what. If you can show that you have winning ways still in you, that will always make people forget the bad. And everybody likes an underdog story, right? You'd like to. I mean, I don't know anybody who would really have anything against Tiger. As a society, we like to see successful people stumble and fall a bit. We like to see them be, fallible characters. And when we see that, we don't like to see people really suffer. So if we see Tiger, we've seen Tiger stumble, and if we could see him recover and do the comeback, as Dre is looking forward to, I think it'll be a great story, and everyone would actually get behind it. So that's a good number 3.
I'm torn. I'm torn. The guy's kind of like Barry Bond. If I could see this guy really humbled and being very personable, that would help out for me. But I get it. This guy's almost living that Michael Jackson, Britney Spears lifestyle. He's always been in the limelight. Yeah. He's never really lived a normal life. He's always been just at a next level. So I feel there's probably some personal traits that are going on that makes him not be personal. So, I'm trying.
Is that your 2018 resolution, is to try and look for the positive in everybody and look for the happy story, Mr. Contrarian?
I guess. Maybe this would be the year.
All right, Dre,
And,
take us to your number two.
and real quick though, Ed, just give Tiger some slack. I mean, keep in mind this guy's been in the media spotlight since he was 2. I mean, his dad took him on. I can't think of the name of the TV show he took him on, but I mean, his dad took him on a TV show when he was 2, hitting golf balls. So, before this kid could really even talk sentences, he's been on TV, having everyone look at him for his golf game. So you can only imagine what that kind of does to you mentally when you've got people staring at you your entire life. It's going to make you, act a little not so normal.
Yeah, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we'll just see.
We'll look forward to it, Dre. We'll look forward to an update from you, and we'll do maybe even a Tiger Watch after every major event. We'll have you chime in with Tiger progress.
Tiger Watch.
We'll call it Tiger Watch 2018.
I like it.
All right, so what's your number 2?
All right, so number 2 for me on the list is basically everything Marvel. We're getting some really exciting movies from Marvel this year. We have Black Panther coming out next month. We've got Avengers Infinity War coming out in April. And we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out in July. So we've got some really exciting movies, I mean, especially Black Panther. I mean, the first time we're getting a lead black superhero getting his own movie. I mean, this is going to be huge. I'm so pumped about everything Marvel coming out this year. I can hardly wait to see these movies.
Marvel didn't make my top 3, but I am still excited for Marvel events this year, particularly the Avengers 3 Infinity War. That's kind of unprecedented. I do want to kind of focus on that because starting with what was it 2008, Dre, where Robert Downey Jr. starred in Iron Man.
That's
the
right.
First Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I mean, I think there were some Hulk films prior to that, but it didn't really count for this story arc, depending who you ask. But anyway, every Marvel movie since then has had some tie-in to this movie. It's been all leading to this. Even to the point where the head of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige, it's presumed that he kind of doesn't know where to go after this story arc wraps up. Like, I think they have movies in the pipe, but at least thematically, story-wise, I don't know if anything in the future is all going to tie together. Do you know how many total Marvel releases there are up to date prior to this?
Oh, God, I want to say 16 or 17.
That's insane. That's an insane amount of...
It's so many.
That's an insane amount of storylines, story arcs, and just even the production costs. Like, how much total money has been put into making those movies and then have them cohesively tie together in a satisfying way, right? I don't think anybody can really complain. Sure, some Marvel movies are better than others. We all have our favorites, but every movie has a bit of a tie-in to what we're going to see in Avengers 3 Infinity War. So
Yep.
That's a big milestone.
It's the house that Robert Downey Jr. built. I really don't know if this franchise would even be as successful as it is if not for Robert Downey Jr., which is why that man gets paid the way he does. I mean, that guy gets such a huge part of the back end every movie he's in. But I mean, looking at the box office totals, those 17 movies, they've grossed $13.5 billion.
Oh
I mean, that's huge. So, I mean, that's a super huge successful effort they put in for the last 10 years now. And especially with the Infinity War movie, I mean, just seeing how all this wraps up to the very first movie, I'm so excited, so pumped up right now.
Yeah, this is comic book talk, so I don't really have much to add. I mean, you lost me at there's a movie with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Dude, Ant-Man is a good movie. It's actually...
Sounds ridiculous.
It does, and so did Guardians of the Galaxy. A talking raccoon, a giant lifelike tree, and a human that gets lost in space doesn't sound like a movie anybody would be interested. But Guardians is one of my favorite movies of all time. Sometimes it just works. I don't know. Maybe if it's 2018 and we need to work on some resolutions, maybe it's giving Marvel a second chance and have you catch one of these movies. Maybe even a marathon.
How about I watch?
I wouldn't be surprised if AMC does like one of those big, huge marathons to lead into Infinity War. We might have to drag Ed out to one of those.
Hey, I got a game that we can play next time around. You guys can just throw out comic book movies names, and I'll have to guess if it's Marvel or if it's what's the other one?
DC.
DC. So like, who was Spider-Man Marvel?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, Batman is DC.
That's correct.
Oh, well, this game might not be fun.
I know you've already won that game. Now the question is, will you actually sit through a movie and enjoy it? That should be a different game.
Give me a couple drinks. I might be able to go.
All right, we'll explore that offline, and then we'll take it in the future. So Dre, number 2 for you is anything Marvel. I'm actually even looking forward to the Fox acquisition by Disney, because that includes a lot more new Marvel content that could be coming down the pipe.
Yes, we may actually get a good Fantastic Four movie for the first time ever.
So, and there's quite a bit of others. I mean, the X-Men is coming back as part of that Fox acquisition. Deadpool is one. Yeah, there's a
Deadpool,
lot.
They can't change Deadpool though. I hope they don't Disneyfy Deadpool, because Deadpool is a character that needs to stay R-rated, and I know Disney's not huge on doing R-rated stuff, but they're gonna have to kind of bend a little bit with that character, because I mean, I think the R-rating stuff was kind of what helped make that such a huge success, because it was just keeping him as true to the comic as possible. And if they take that away from him and just make it all PG or PG-13, it just won't be the same. And fans will not buy into that.
I think Disney has some options. They own Touchstone, and I think they've released some rated R movies under the Touchstone Filmhouse label, and that's their sub-label. So I think they have some options there. We should probably do a whole podcast on the Disney Fox acquisition. Let's wait till they have some concrete news, see how the progress of the merger is going on, if it's officially a merger, if it's a buyout, whatever it is. So when we get our next drop of news for Fox Disney, let's go ahead and probably spend a whole podcast on that. But
yes,
that's more Marvel to look forward to in 2018. All right, Jason, what you got for us number 1?
All right, so number 1, and so for anyone who's known me for a long time, this should come as no surprise to them, but he's bringing sexy back, baby. JT is back. It's been 4 years since the last album. And he just, when I woke up on Monday morning, I'm checking my Facebook feed, and there it is right there. New JT coming out February 2nd, Man in the Woods. I couldn't be more excited. I mean, I'm already waiting for them to announce the tour. I'll be getting my tickets for sure. I don't care where the show is. I'm going, maybe even twice. Can't wait to listen to the single that just dropped about 45 minutes ago. I am, like, my JT fever is like on high right now. Super juice right now.
Man in the Woods?
Man in the Woods.
What is he doing in the woods? Like, is this Blair Witch like music? Like, what's with that title? This is probably worse than Nick Lachey's solo.
This is his soul searching album, like him talking about his roots, where he's coming from, talking about his family, like his wife Jessica, his son, like just talking about all what's most important to him in this world.
Do they like camping?
Probably.
He's from Tennessee.
He's from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, good knowledge.
Well, I'm a big Justin fan as well. It did not make my top 3 list, even though I do look forward to hearing his sound. I mean, I've always said it before. I mean, Dre, you and I have been big JT fans. We've kind of identified him as, I mean, we're technically all about the same age. JT is about the same age as all 3 of us. As we were kind of coming into our young adulthood, his music was starting to really branch off as a solo artist. And I always identified him as kind of a Michael Jackson type artist of our generation. So, and we just like the music. I think he's a great musician. I even liked him somewhat in the NSYNC days. But yeah, I'll look forward to that too. Again, it doesn't make my top 2018. I was expecting this to be on your list. I don't think it was going to be number 1, but I can't say I'm not surprised as well. So.
Here's a fun fact for you. Justin Timberlake and yours truly, we share the same birthday.
I did know that. I did know that.
Yeah, I think Oprah too, and the former Pope. Rest in peace.
Awesome. So Dre, you got number 3, Tiger Woods, the GOAT comeback. Number 2, All Things Marvel in 2018, and then number 1, JT bringing his Man of the Woods new release and tour, I assume.
Yep.
Sounds like an awesome 2018 list. Again, we'll look forward to updates from you as those things come to fruition. Ed, you're up next. What you got for us at number 3?
All right, coming in at the number 3 spot, I feel like I'm Casey Kasem or does Carson Daly still do like a weekend countdown show? I don't think so.
Doesn't he do The Voice or something?
No, he does The Voice, yeah.
Well, he's on NBC, right? The Today Show. Isn't he like one of the correspondents?
He's all over the place.
He's all grown up now, man.
Nice guy. Nice guy. Met him in person, South by Southwest 2010. Name dropping over here. All right, so name dropping. All right, so number 3 spot for me, and this is more because I have a 4-year-old. Actually, this has nothing to do with him. Like I'm pretty pumped that this summer, The Incredibles 2 is coming out, and I'm more pumped because I feel like this was one of Pixar's really good movies early on. And if you look at the ranking, this is actually the 6th movie that they produced. It came out in 2004. And they've produced numerous Toy Stories, 2 Nemos, 3 Cars movies. I mean, and they're just now, 15 years later, if I'm doing the math right, 14, maybe 14, they're just now making a second movie to this, and so it's baffled me, and I'm pretty pumped that it's coming out. I can't wait to watch the original with my kid, take him to the movie theater. I'm probably gonna be more geeked out than him to watch this movie, but I'm just like pumped. Like this, it's a good movie, and you know, this, I bash on comic book movies, but this is a good. I think this is a good superhero type of animation. So good, kudos for Pixar for getting back to the grind and making this, and so I'm pumped about Incredibles 2.
I agree. I'm excited for the movie. Is Brad Bird doing this one? He did the first one, so I'm not sure.
Brad Bird is doing this one again, yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of folks who are comic book fans who'd say that The Incredibles is truly the best superhero family movie, because I think Fantastic Four kind of tried to be that and hasn't been very good in those results, but everybody likes The Incredibles. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they disliked it. So it's a good
which is again shocking that they haven't gone back to that, gone back to the well and produced multiple movies. But yeah, pumped that that's there. So let's segue into number 2. We're gonna stay with the entertainment world. This isn't a movie, but it's a TV show, and it's on HBO, and it's Westworld season 2. I'm really pumped for the second season. The first season took place in a theme park that had like a Wild Wild West, like theme, where people are gunslingers and shooting around, and usually I hate westerns, so I'm amazed at this show that I liked it so much. But I am excited to just see how they pick up after the last season ended. They have to do other worlds. I think they teased, what was it, Pirate World?
It was East World. It was just an E. It was an E in the style of the Westworld logo, so you assume it's East World, but and it looked like they had some kind of samurai type of costume, so that would go with the theme of it being like an Eastern.
Where do I get pirates from? Pirates and samurais are not even close. But anyways, I'm really excited to dig in and to see how many other worlds are there. Are they even on the planet Earth? Like, when does this take place and what time frame? There's still a lot of unknown answers. And this is like the perfect show to be on HBO, because you don't have to dumb down the content. I mean, they can just be as graphic as they want to, and tell like a real story. So I'm really pumped. I think this is one of my favorite sci-fi shows, if you want to call it sci-fi shows, over the past like couple years. So I'm glad we had to wait 1.5 years and it's coming back soon.
Yeah, I'm bummed out to say that that was a show that I was looking forward to when they were first announcing it, and I never found the time to watch one episode. So I'm way behind on that show right now. So I need to get caught up on that.
It's a short season. It's not a long.
10 episodes maybe, or
yeah, it's 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, and it's still on HBO. If you have the app, you can stream it. If not, you can come over to my house. I'll rewatch.
I do have HBO. So I'm good.
Sweet, that's a good one, because that app actually happens to be on my list as well. I won't tell you which number, but I have the same excitement looking forward to the return of Westworld. Awesome. So that's a good one. I'll dig into that one too when I bring it up on my list. So what do you got for number 1?
Oh man, I wish someone could just cue up the Olympics music right now. The Winter Olympics. we are 36 days away. If you're on the East Coast, or if you're If you're in Europe, I mean, you're at 35 days. The Winter Olympics is coming up, and I mean, the Winter Olympics people might argue with this. The Winter Olympics is actually my favorite Olympics out of the two. Most people love those Usain Bolt and the running and the gymnastics. Like, I just think the Winter Olympics. Oh, there we go.
I got you, Ed. I got you.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but when that intro hits on NBC, just with showing the snow-capped land, I get so pumped. It brings me back to memories as a childhood. It brings out that ultimate patriotism. So we're 36 days away. It's in South Korea this year. I'm just so pumped just to see it. And granted, by the end of the Winter Olympics, I'm probably going to be burnt out. I'm going to just say, okay, I wish this is over with. But in the beginning, like, it's great to just see the Jamaican team come out with the flag. And they have the bobsledders. They're like sponsored
cool
by
running.
Disney. Yeah. It's great to see that. And figure skating, the ladies figure skating, that's exciting to see. And I'm a big Nordic combine watcher with the ski jumping and the cross country skiing. Like, I think that's cool. Are you guys pumped? And if so, what are you looking forward to out of all the events?
I'm not as pumped as you are, but I too am very moved by that Olympic fanfare theme. There is something about that theme that brings out the pride and patriotism, as you called it. I don't know I always look forward to, because the Olympics happens every 2 years with it rotating between summer and winter. But I'm always interested to see how technology and the broadcasting of these events come into play. Seeing the last Summer Olympics in 4K was awesome. You didn't get to watch everything in 4K, but then you also had the availability or the options to watch anything you wanted if you streamed it online. I mean, things like that, where before you were at the tape delay mercy of NBC back in the 80s and 90s, and whatever they wanted to show you, they're going to show you, and that's all you had exposure to. So do you know of anything kind of groundbreaking this time around that they're going to be doing for broadcasting? It's still NBC, I assume, right? Because I think they have like
NBC.
Oh, NBC's got that unlocked forever.
They're never going to get rid of that. Like, that's their bread and butter. Yeah, I don't know if there's any new technology coming out, but you did bring up a good point. I think the whole emergence of social media and digital media since the mid 2000s, like, that's really made it a game changer. And this is Olympics that will be happening on the other side of the world. So it does take away that watching live and seeing the U.S. hockey team upset, the Russians, and you don't really have those moments anymore. You almost have to turn your phone off and just be disconnected to not get spoiled. So, that is the one aspect that I learned around the last Summer Olympics that's a little disheartening, but I still think it is so cool that the NBC and other services will provide you with the ability to, if you want to wake up at 2:00 in the morning and watch it live and stream it, you can.
What about events? Is there? So I'm not as familiar with the Winter Olympic events as I am this summer. What's the event where they've got skis and then they got a gun on their back and then they shoot stuff every quarter mile or something like that?
That's is that the cross country wait, what's that
biathlon?
Biathlon?
Yeah, it's a biathlon. Yeah, it's the biathlon. So that's the one. I always thought that one's pretty weird. And I mentioned before the Nordic combine. Dre, I think you're a huge fan of curling. Still,
I was just going to say that. I swear to God, I don't know what it is about curling. It's like probably the slowest event in all of the Winter Olympics, but I can sit and watch that for hours at a time and not get bored one bit. I love it so much.
Well, those guys are the world's best at scraping ice. That is amazing if you think about it, right? Like, it's the best of the best in the entire world, and those guys are scraping the ice in better ways than just the everyday man like you and I. So that event, I could see how it could be intriguing.
Oh, I will say the one thing, because you guys were asking about any new technology for the Olympics this year. For the United States, no. But if you're lucky enough to live in South Korea, they actually do have. They're experimenting with a full 360 virtual reality, first-person point of view thing that they're looking at. 5G for data speeds over there for cell phones, that's standard. I mean, we're so far behind other countries when it comes to mobile technology. So 5G for them is already like a standard thing. So because of that high data transmission speeds, they're experimenting with trying to put cameras on some of the athletes, and so you'll be able to actually look in a full 360 virtual reality image of what they're seeing as they're competing in the games. So that alone, I mean, that's a pretty cool, exciting feature. Kind of see it from the eyes of the athlete. It's just too bad that only people in South Korea get to see that.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Hopefully, the next time around, when you get to the next Winter Olympics in Japan, that'll be a standard feature. Even a Summer Olympics. That's pretty cool. Like the NFL does that, and other. We have a Christian. Go ahead, Mister.
I don't know. So everything that's happened, at least over the last month or two, with net neutrality, completely different topic, but I think that's going to have a huge impact and play on what type of technologies will be marketed or even utilized in the next Olympic Games, especially if it's on U.S. soil or anywhere near the U.S. If net neutrality does indeed go away and it can be monetized for features like that, yes, it'd be cool tech, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about stuff like that yet. It's a nice experience, and in theory, it all adds up to it. But again, it's a whole nother can of worms. It's open forum format, so we can chat about it if we want. But I think I'd actually want to stay away with this without giving it its full attention in another full podcast outside of a Disney Fox podcast. But technology is key to our social media experiences, our entertainment experiences, and then sadly, internet access is a big part of that, right? And Andrea, as you said, Korea has always been kind of a pioneer when it comes to mobile technology. I know that they were the first to adopt the idea that you get a new phone every year if you want, because your phone becomes obsolete, new phones become faster, so they made it affordable for everybody to get new phones regularly. For some reason, the U.S. was really behind and required you to have contracts for year after year, really locking you into obsolete tech. Why we straight away, I know why we did. It was for financial reasons, but still, when you have that type of technological freedom, it drives the innovation as well. So that's why they have the faster speeds. So it's a shame that the U.S. can't keep up with the likes of Korea when it comes to mobile tech, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll see it.
We're getting there. I mean, it's a slow crawl, but our cell phone companies now, they're all experimenting with the 5G networks now. So I mean, it's going to be a few more years, but we're getting there. The steps are being taken.
I will close out this Olympic section with a little, like, this is a selling point for people who are not big Winter Olympics fans. Why you should be excited for this. The Winter Olympics, the U.S., they're underdogs. We're not really good at winter sports. Most of our country, most people aren't even close to a place where they can go skiing or ice skating. I mean, we're on the West Coast, so we definitely don't see snow unless we drive to Lake Tahoe. But this, when the U.S. wins, it actually means a lot, because we suck at a lot of these things. If we win a gold at figure skating and we take down the Russians or the someone from China, that's a big deal. Even our friends from the north, the Canadians, that's a big deal. If we win a cross country skiing and we beat the Swedes, that's a big deal. And just a tidbit, in 2014, Russia actually led with the most gold medals, and the U.S. came in second, but they almost nearly doubled the medal counts that we had. So just something to keep in mind. This is an underdog event, or the major large event for the U.S.
Real quick, Ed, and you'll probably know the answer to this question. Speaking of Russia, I remember reading something a couple of months ago that they were possibly going to have all their athletes banned from the Winter Games. Is that in effect right now, or is that not in effect? Do you know?
I haven't heard any real update since then, but that would be a big deal if Russia wasn't including. I mean, I don't want to be pointing fingers, but typically in the past, when Russia's had issues and they've been banned by the IOC, it's been related to doping, and
they've stripped Russia, right? Of actual medals earned from 20 years ago, because
yeah, they have.
Wow.
So I'm seeing right now, if you just go based off of a search engine search, articles are coming up that says how's Russia's ban from the 2018 Winter Olympics could affect hockey. Russia's Winter Olympics doping ban explained why Russia was banned from the Olympics. So, I mean, I think you can chalk it up. I think the Russians are out. And for that reason, that's going to make this probably be a more competitive Winter Olympics for Team USA.
Uh-oh. Underdog stories. Everybody loves them. And the U.S. poised to be an underdog for the 2018 Winter Olympics. And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till I hear that Olympic fanfare theme song. I will definitely be pumped up and excited in the moment when it happens. Sweet. Ed, so let's recap it. So your number 3 was The Incredibles 2, directed by Brad Bird, being released what time this year? Do you know?
I think when I went to Star Wars, I saw the preview. That's coming out like summer. So if it's summer, it's probably at a July time frame.
Okay. Is that Pixar's big release this year? They have like big one a year, right?
Yeah, it's their big one this year. Next year, it's going to be Toys 4, which
it's June 15th, by the way.
Oh boy, there goes my knowledge.
The heyday of summer. Yeah, I would expect Pixar to do Thanksgiving releases, but no, summer's always a good time. It's profitable. The thing is, Disney owns so much that they start cannibalizing their own releases, so that's probably why that one got moved up to June.
Yeah, Coco was their big one this year, and that came out not in the summer.
Sweet. So that's number 3. Number 2 again was Westworld, which is one of mine. I'll clue in on that in just a moment. And then number 1, the 2018 Winter Olympics. Do you know where? Can you pronounce it? Where in Korea is it taking place?
Pyongyang.
Your pronunciation is as good as mine. But awesome. Those are great things to look forward to in 2018. So if it is now up to me, let's start with my number 3. I'm going to cheat a bit and call it a tie. For my number 3 most look forward thing to, it's actually 2 video game releases. I'm calling them AAA releases because they are big budget games being released. So tied at number 3, the first one is BioWare's Anthem. Now, this was announced officially last E3, so June of 2017. BioWare is the game developer, and they're very well known for their series Mass Effect. So they have officially announced Anthem, which is looking like a game that visually looks similar to Mass Effect, but it has all the systems and underpinnings of Destiny. So yes, I want to give you a little bit of insight as to why we have Destiny footage each week and why I'm kind of a fiend at it. So the reason why we have Destiny kind of as my main gameplay footage as a backing to these podcasts is the game is actually really easy for me to go into autopilot mode. I can play the game while I help facilitate and participate in a podcast, but I can go into autopilot enough where I can still live out my fantasy and still be a super space commando or even a space cowboy. That's the Destiny addiction I've described to Dre, even as Dre has told me before that he's had a Candy Crush addiction, and it's kind of the same addiction. While the game is action-based, the reward systems are kind of randomly generated that keep you coming back for more. A little bit of an addictive slot machine type of reward system. So that's what keeps me addicted, what keeps me coming back for more. And Anthem looks to be kind of a Destiny direct competitor. So I'm definitely open to anything fresh that will maybe help me kick my Destiny addiction, but hopefully not, because I love Destiny too much. But tied with my number 3 most look forward thing to in 2018 with Anthem is comes from AAA game developer Rockstar Games, who brought us the latest Grand Theft Auto release, Grand Theft Auto 5, which was released in 2013. Rockstar Games is expected to release the prequel to the 2010 title Red Dead Redemption, and it's expected spring this year that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be released. So,
yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Rockstar is an amazing game developer. One thing I've really grown to like about Rockstar and their games, they've been somewhat controversial because of the adult and mature nature of their games. I mean, Grand Theft Auto is about literally stealing cars and going on crime sprees. One thing I've noticed, though, particularly with Grand Theft Auto 5, is Rockstar's ability to do the first-player story narrative. Some of the missions in Grand Theft Auto 5, I would compare to even some of the best action movies and TV series that we've seen. I mean, there's some missions and gameplay experiences in Grand Theft Auto 5 that reminded me of a heist from Ocean's 11, or even a bank heist from Heat. And then I recall specifically watching an episode of Sons of Anarchy, some kind of drug running episode, and that was exactly the mission I just completed the night before in Grand Theft Auto. So, I mean, there's a stigma right now with playing video games, especially as we've gotten older. I mean, we grew up in the Nintendo era, and as we've gotten older, we've gotten more disposable income to spend on these things. So it makes sense that they're putting more money into these experiences as we've become adults, and the content and storytelling has been more tailored to the mature nature of us being adults now. So Rockstar has been great. I look forward to Red Dead Redemption 2, as well as Anthem. So 2 AAA video game releases in 2018. It's kind of difficult because video games are known for delays more often than not. So it's hard to know if they will indeed be released in 2018. I know Red Dead Redemption 2 has already been delayed. It was supposed to come out last year. So I think that has a greater chance, more so than Anthem, of actually getting released this year. So 2 games I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I agree. I would hopefully like to see something at E3 this year with some new gameplay they can show, and maybe some information about just like, the scope of the open world that we're going to get in this game. Because, for anyone who's played, games from this publisher, Rockstar, they nail it when it comes to open world games. I mean, they're so good at it. They've been doing it so well for so many years. And with the way technology is now, with consoles now, I mean, they can make the world 4 or 5 times the size it was with the first Red Dead Redemption. So, I mean, we can just get the hugest world to explore on horseback, through carriage. I mean, it's going to be such an exciting ride, and I'm really looking forward to that game.
I mean, unless we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog or like Super Mario 3, I don't really have anything to add. So if you're excited, I'm excited. Go Rockstar.
And we'll probably dedicate a whole episode maybe to breaking out of our shells, our comfort zone. So, and if it's video games and comics for you, we'll find something for Dre and I to expand into. That's one of Ed's passions that he can definitely share with us.
Yeah, I can tell you about woodworking if you guys want to learn how to like use a jigsaw. It might not be the best like audio listen, but
well, if it's an extra side video outside of the podcast, we'll definitely put it in our link, and we'll advertise that and push our audience to it to experience as well. So that's number 3, 2 AAA games. Number 2 for me in 2018 is one that Ed had. So I too am looking forward to Westworld season 2. The 3 of us on this podcast, we all love great storytelling, right? I look forward to where Westworld season 2 goes. Season 1 was a great sci-fi story, but what was kind of unique about Westworld season 1 is it was told in a very abstract way. I felt like more times than not, you're confused about what is exactly going on. Usually you'd think that would turn off any kind of viewer, but at the end of the story and at the end of the season, you kind of feel very satisfied with how the story ends up and how everything made sense. But in the moment, a lot of times that show did not make a lot of sense. I know a lot of people who ended up turning it away because of that. But at least for us, at least for me and you, and I know that we enjoyed it enough to keep coming back for more. One thing I really liked about Westworld, I mean, given that it's a story about robots in a theme park kind of waking up, and I mean, if it's going along the lines of AI and the AI becoming self-aware and where do they go from that, they told the story from a really great, logically sound narrative. If you had computer programs who couldn't tell, which memories were real and which aren't real, that's exactly kind of the experience you would expect. That humans have dreams, and dreams are very hazy, and that's kind of what makes us human. But if you're an android, you don't have the luxury of making a dream hazy. It feels like reality. So can you ever tell if you're awake or not? And just what would that do to your psyche? It would drive you insane. Just like why humans can't stay awake past a certain amount of time is because it would just drive you insane. So I mean, that type of storytelling and making you really feel what a realistic android might feel was part of the best parts of Westworld. We talked about our favorite storytellers. One of our favorite storytellers, J.J. Abrams, is an executive producer on Westworld. He's actually quoted as saying that season 2 will be what happens at the dawn of consciousness, what happens when you begin to actually wake up. So he's kind of cluing into what can we expect in season 2, and based off his quotes there, to me that screams chaos, violence. What happens when someone suddenly wakes up from sleep? They have a sudden jolt. They kind of reach around and flail, trying to get their bearings. So I mean, I think this next season might be more action-packed than the previous season. But I definitely look forward to it. There's 10 episodes coming up for Westworld Season 2. I don't think there's an official announcement of the release date, but spring 2018 was, I think, the rumor. So
Okay, so that gives me a couple of months to get caught up.
So and Dre, to prepare you for your binge watch, just know that there's going to be tons of times like, what is happening right now? I don't get it. And then you'll catch a glimpse of something, and it'll make you think back 2 episodes prior. Just be open to it, and just know that it's going to come full circle, and more things will fall into place the longer you watch.
Oh, and that's fine because like you and I talked about before, I appreciate complex storytelling. I don't like when I can figure things out in the very first episode of a 10-story arc, 10-episode arc. I want to really kind of be pulled along for the ride and just kind of sit and think like, man, what the hell's going on? I don't want to figure everything out right away. So I mean, if things can be kind of complicated and a little complex for 5-6 episodes, and you have like this big, huge revelation, towards the end of the season, I'm totally fine with that. And if that's the case with this show, then I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, and I will say we use the word binge watch, and you're clearly behind a season, but I think this is a great show to watch an episode and then step back and then listen to like a podcast, something to analyze like each episode, because it might help you be able to take in some things that you miss. I know what I loved about watching this season episode by episode, because I started when it started on HBO, so I was always up to speed. Being able to step away and just listen to all the predictions that were out there, and some predictions are spot on and some predictions was off, but I really felt it helped me get into the TV show and get excited. So you don't necessarily have to watch an episode and wait 4 days, but like watch an episode and then maybe take it. Yeah, check out a podcast. Rob has a podcast. I listen to a lot of like his network. I know that was a good one, and he has a couple folks who are actually writers within the industry who are on it, and they provide a lot of good insight. So there's a handful of good podcasts, but watch it. I think you're gonna love it. It is great storytelling. It's just something completely different. And if you like different and you like good writing and you like sci-fi type of things, like this is a show for you.
Check. So I'm all in.
And it's J.J. Abrams. You can feel J.J. Abrams all throughout the episodes. I mean, he's an executive producer. I don't think he's officially credited with creating the series. It's actually Christopher Nolan's brother, I think. Is it Jonathan Nolan?
Yeah, it's actually the Nolans. I know I think it's a husband and wife combo.
Okay. Yeah, it's Christopher Nolan, who's famous for his Christian Bale Dark Knight trilogy, and Abrams, of course, is an executive producer on it. I mean, JJ's fingerprints all over the storytelling with mystery box elements to it, but you'll really enjoy it. It kind of really brings back the week to week kind of grind that we felt with Lost. Right, when we watched Lost, we couldn't wait to Well, I mean, I don't know if we couldn't wait for the next episode for sure, but we kind of wanted it right then and there because we had so much to talk about and we wanted to get that payoff. Now, whether you actually liked what happened to Lost or not, it was still a fun experience week to week. So, I mean, even though, like Ed said, you don't have that benefit of going week to week, you can still possibly get a little bit of that if you clue into some podcasts or whatnot.
Yep, I agree.
So, all right, so that's my number 2, Westworld Season 2. Me and Ed are definitely looking forward to that. All right, so up to my number 1. Number 1 on my top 3 list for 2018 is Ready Player One. So before I get into how excited I am, Ready Player One, it was a 2011 science fiction novel by American author Ernest Cline. So real briefly, the story synopsis is it's a dystopian future in 2044. The protagonist, Wade Watts, is literally searching for an Easter egg in a virtual reality or a virtual game world called the Oasis. Now, the only way I can describe the Oasis is it would be Facebook in a virtual reality kind of steroids, where if Facebook, you can only access it through virtual reality, and then given that, it is super realistic, and it's almost a more fun version of The Matrix. That's the basic premise of the story, is that's where it takes place. So your imagination is the limit when it comes to being in the Oasis. The main arc is that Wade Watts, the main protagonist, he is looking for an Easter egg. So whoever finds this Easter egg, basically this Steve Jobs-like character who created this Oasis, this Facebook on steroids, planted this Easter egg somewhere in the Oasis, and whoever finds it is actually going to take control of the Oasis, like controlling stake and ownership in the Oasis. And it'd be like if someone were handed over the keys to Microsoft, Facebook, and Apple combined. You have that much wealth and technology at your disposal because you found an Easter egg somewhere hidden in code.
500 billion.
I think it's even more than that. I'm curious to see what kind of figures they use to demonstrate that. It's just a lot of money. So I'm a big fan of the books. That's why I'm really looking forward to how this movie's going to turn out. The trailers came out a few weeks ago. The second trailer came out, and it looks really good. The story, again, the only way I can describe it is everything that we enjoyed out of the 1985 movie, The Goonies. That's an adventure, action, a treasure hunt story. You mix that with the action, the Wachowskis, the Matrix trilogy. That is what Ready Player One is supposed to look like as a movie. There's a lot of 80s pop culture references in the book, as that is who the main characters really identify with. So even in the trailer, you'll see a lot of icons from the 80s. The DeLorean from Back to the Future. You'll see King Kong in there. I mean, there's tons of Easter eggs hidden just in that two and a half minute trailer. I can only imagine what the 2-hour movie is going to hold end to end when it comes to all these Easter eggs. As excited as I am for Ready Player One, unfortunately, I don't know how well it's going to do financially at the box office. I'm not sure of how many people realize how good the book was, or are even familiar with the book, at least even to the point that, I mean, people aren't as familiar with this book as they were, say, the Harry Potter series. Harry Potter's the fan base familiarity with the books directly led into the success of the movies that Warner Brothers pushed out. So Warner Brothers is pushing out Ready Player One, but I just don't think many people know about the great book that makes them want to see this. They'll only be pulled in by the visuals. It's Steven Spielberg's kind of return to big tentpole blockbusters. He's been kind of on an indie kick. I think he just released something called The Post with Tom Hanks, which I don't really have an interest in seeing. I might check it out if it's on, but I think even he did Lincoln, quite a few years ago, and he hasn't really had anything big blockbustery tentpole type of movie in a really long time, and this is kind of expected to be his return, hopefully to form of his godlike nature of creating movies as he did in the 80s. But I definitely look forward to Ready Player One. I think go ahead.
You had me sold. I was so pumped for the movie, and then you said Spielberg, and And it's like, like there's the once greatness, but I'm still coming off of the complete just nosedive of a TV show, Falling Skies, that was just up and down, had promise, was good, and then just ended as a flop. And
That's a TV show.
I know. Well, and also
but
he did World of Worlds, which I think I watched with you like back in the day, and I
right.
walked out of the movie theater pissed. So like, I mean, the last few things that he's done,
that's Tom Hanks' fault, man. I mean, Tom Cruise's fault. I blame Tom Cruise for that movie.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, he had to have his running scene, and that was a horrible movie. So yeah, okay. Well, I'm still gonna watch it. It's just if you didn't say Spielberg, I would be feeling a little better right now.
Well, I think there's actually he's referenced a lot in the novel, so there's going to be a lot of fourth wall breaking kind of moments if you think about it. Considering he's directing a movie where the story is based on references to him and the main characters. So it was interesting. I did the audiobook when I took in the story, so Will Wheaton was the narrator for the audiobook, and same thing. Will Wheaton, there were references in the story to Will Wheaton and what he's done in sci-fi movies, and it was kind of weird breaking that fourth wall, but it was a fun listen. The story itself is really good. It's just all the fun and excitement of the Goonies adventure modernized for today. There's actually even a bit of social commentary of where the world's going. One of the main story or premises in the novel is that it's a group or a generation that they refer to as the missing millions, and that society is itself, there's nowhere left to go, meaning cities aren't expanding anymore. Construction has kind of come to a halt unless it's existing, because with the depleted resources in the world, everyone is looking to make money online, whether if it's podcasting for a living or being an online customer service agent. Everybody can live their entire lives through Facebook, a Facebook-like life, and it shows what happens when everybody, if that's where we're really going with the advancing social media that we have these days. I mean, is that something we should look forward to or can expect? I don't know. It's a deeper story at the long run. I don't know if Spielberg is going to go all into that or if he's just going to make a nice eye candy and a fun story to top that. But I look forward to it either way. So, and that's expected to come out March 30th this year. So I don't have too much longer to wait for that. So that's my top 3 of 2018. So at number 3, a tie between Red Dead Redemption 2 from Rockstar Games and BioWare's Anthem. Number 2, like Ed, Westworld is something I look forward to. Season 2 begins this spring sometime with 10 more episodes. And then my number 1 thing I look most forward to in 2018 is the Steven Spielberg directed film Ready Player One. So I think that's almost just about it. Is there anything else, guys, you want to add about 2018? Anything you look forward to?
Well, I think it's gonna be a good year. From a sports standpoint, none of my teams will probably do well. So I'm at least down on that. Can't be excited about the World Cup because the USA didn't qualify, so I'll be depressed for a couple months during the summer. But still, it's gonna be a great year, and hopefully we'll have plenty more chats like this that people can listen to.
I agree. I look forward to making many more podcasts with fun, interesting topics. I look forward to everything that we've outlined in our 9 things we look forward to 2018. We'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure. So, Dre, anything else from you other than go Tiger Woods? When's Tiger's next event, or his first event, I guess, of 2018? I don't know. Did we lose you, Dre?
Can you hear me? Hello?
There you go. We hear you now.
Okay. They haven't announced when his next event's going to be yet, so I think he's still trying to figure out his schedule. So they should have the information out pretty soon. I mean, the golf season's a long season, so I mean, he could start, February or March and still have time to get himself to the top of the FedEx Cup rankings. So we'll see. I'll be on Tiger Watch for the next few weeks and see what kind of news comes out.
Awesome. Look forward to Tiger Watch updates in the future podcasts. That's going to do it for us. Thanks everybody for viewing and or listening. Please, if you like what you heard and or saw, leave a comment, follow, share, like, and or subscribe at any of the places where you are checking us out. Anything and everything, it is always appreciated. So definitely check the words and deets in the descriptions, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks.